Hey, this is the antisocial socialite back at it again. Shout out to all of the wonderful new subscribers and returning friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are new to the channel, you have not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for, darling? Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. So when I get to running this mouth, baby, you are in the loop. You see the title, you know what time it is. Fortunately, today I'm going to be the bad cop as per usual. So giving the unpopular opinion related to this video that's circulating on the internet about pretty privilege. Obviously, by now, probably most people have heard of it in these YouTube streets. A lady called Stephco, or her channel is called Stephco. Her name is Stephanie. She did a video, maybe a week or two ago, talking about how it sucks that she doesn't have pretty privilege. And it's Pick Me Monday, so I thought maybe I would just give my 2 cents on this situation because uh to be honest with you, it's a very interesting conversation, but I feel like there's some things that kind of have been left out of the conversation, or not really left out of the conversation, but they they just, I don't even know where to begin, because to be honest with you, this is just me having a stream of consciousness. Stephanie has done a couple of interviews now. She's been on Yanni. She went to the Nurse and Nerd yesterday. And that's what kind of really made me think about wanting to do this video, because I don't even know where to begin with the whole situation, because I don't want to be insensitive. I don't want to be unsympathetic to everybody who, you know, maybe relates to what Steph has to say in her video. But the thing that just was in my mind the whole time when I was kind of listening to this conversation is literally like, not everybody has pretty privilege. Pretty privilege is a privilege. And something that's a privilege is something that most people don't have. That's what makes it a privilege for you who does have it. If you have access to things that sometimes or a number of people do not have access to, you are privileged in that area. And so um I did say this yesterday when I was watching the Nurse and Nerd, but you're in the chat, you don't want to be too antagonistic all the time. So I kind of just left it alone, if I'm honest. But I was like, if everybody was quote unquote pretty, then everybody would be average, because that would be the norm. I know people talk about Scandinavian and Swedish women being so beautiful, and a lot of people, I mean, if you go to certain parts of East Africa, there's a very homogenous look. So it's like, you may say, well, these women are the most beautiful women in the world. Like, when you go there, there's a disproportionately high number of physically attractive women. Or if you go to parts of South America or wherever. And obviously it's because whatever is phenotypically deemed attractive, there just seems to be a high proportion of those women in those places who seem to have these phenotypes. The first thing I want to do, I want to give a big shout out to SWP. He did a video recently. I think it's kind of in the vein of the pretty privileged conversation. And he was talking about how colorism is not really colorism. It's more featurism. And it's more to do with the fact that, women who have a certain hair texture, a certain nose shape, facial features, it's not really just the complexion. Maybe it's the eyes and things like that. They're just not elevated as the standard of beauty. And I do agree that colorism is often used as a scapegoat. It's not really used as it's not really so much the dark skin. For me personally, what I would say is this: dark skin is not the problem. It's what's associated with dark skinned women. And I know this video is trigger alert 1000. I know this is going to be the unpopular belief. I'm already getting ready for the women who come in the comment section angry as hell and all the thumbs down and everything, and you're unsympathetic. But I truly believe if you are an attractive female, it really doesn't matter what complexion you have. If you are physically appealing, you will be deemed attractive. And I understand that when it comes onto this concept of featurism is, because he brought up a great point about Iman. I think at some point I might link the video if so you guys can check it out for yourself. How Iman, you know, she's from East Africa. She's from like Somali background. She has the keen features. And when she started off with her modeling career, she was told you're basically like a white woman dipped in chocolate. You have the keen features. Obviously, the hair texture is not 4C. It's considerably softer. She's slender. You know, she has a very European look in terms of features, but obviously she has the complexion of a darker skinned woman, and so she was elevated as a black beauty standard, as it were, but she doesn't really embody like West African black beauty because she doesn't have the features of somebody who's more typically West African. And so, of course, she's going to be kind of quote unquote accepted in the modeling world because she has the right features. She's just literally just a European person with brown skin. And so a lot of the times when people talk about colorism, they're not really talking about colorism. They want to see women who have the very Afrocentric, you know, a coarse hair, broad nose, and things like that being elevated as the standard of beauty. And we know that across the planet, you know, people with color are more than people without color. Okay, people who are melanated, people who are red, people who have some type of tan in their skin, they do outnumber people who are Caucasian and with white skin. So is the white beauty standard the standard, or is it a case of certain features are the standard, which predominantly are going to be in other groups, if that makes any sense? Because, for example, a lot of people in Southeast Asia, like Filipinos, they do have like the bell pepper nose and things like that. And so is it the complexion that's the problem, or is it really the features? But obviously we do know that in the mainstream media that is pretty much global now, a certain beauty standard or a certain look is elevated. Now we do know that like you have a lot of women from non-black backgrounds, they're trying to make their lips bigger, they're trying to enhance their body, and we can say, oh, you're trying to emulate black women. But again, it's like you're trying to take the bits that you like of the black woman and kind of combine them with what you naturally have to make like a hybrid with the white or the fair skin. And it's like, I understand that if you come from a culture that elevates whiteness, you are going to struggle if you have very Afrocentric features. And the thing about Steph is I don't think she necessarily has um, such a broader nose or something like this. But this is where the kind of the unpopular belief comes in, you know, because when she was on Nurse and Nerd talking about her dating experience, my personal feeling was there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of anxiety, and there was also a lot of, I don't want to say the word excuses, but I felt like she had been swept along so heavily in some type of SJW uh, cultural beauty war or something. I don't really know what to call it, but it was like Steph grew up in a predominantly white area. And so even if you're a black person living in a predominantly black area, the mainstream media and the culture is going to push white beauty standards because you're in a white country. You're in a predominantly white country. Even if you were in a predominantly black area, you are going to be bombarded with European or Eurocentric beauty standards. So it's obviously doubly difficult if you're a black person with West African-esque features in a predominantly white area in a white country. So when Steph said, like, I didn't really get the looks and the attention, I kind of felt like, I don't want to say, well, what did you expect? But I kind of want to say, well, what did you expect? because people are socialized to gravitate towards their own people. And so if you're in a predominantly white area, most people are going to want white women, probably because the vast majority of the men in your environment are white. um then you have this idea where she lives in terms of geographics, where she lives in, is it LA or whatever. I hear is one of the most, competitive areas. I've watched some commentaries. People are like, LA we know is for the stars and the celebrities. So you have people coming literally from all over the globe to compete for jobs and roles, and it's like a beauty mecca. And that's not to say Steph is not a beautiful or attractive woman, but in an environment where people are extremely competitive for partners, you've got to bring like your A plus 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 game. You you can't just say I woke up like this, okay? If you don't have that phenomenal beauty, then unfortunately, yeah, I mean, if you are an average woman or an average person, which most people are, you are not going to get the car crash head turn everywhere you go. And even the women who have won the genetic lottery and they do just have that natural beauty, you still have to not only maintain it, you have to dress it right. You have to have a good personality. You still have to be approachable. You still have to do a lot to maintain that God given gift. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, if you are not that head turner, you're going to have to put in a little extra effort. And, look, I know some people, they're really not going to like what I'm about to say, but, I'm just going to say it. Do you know what I mean? Steph, like a lot of men don't want the hair pieces. Like you put on a lace front wig. She said, I heard the story, but I heard it secondhand. Apparently on her 30th birthday, she went out and she spent 2 hours. This is what I heard her say in the Nurse and Nerd interview. I put on a lace front wig. It took me 2 hours to adjust it. I got it looking on fleek, and I went out and like I didn't get the response I wanted. A lot of men don't like the wigs. A lot of men don't fancy the hair pieces because they want to know what you've got underneath. And I'm sure Steph has got something nice underneath. So if you don't want to do, I would say don't do a wig. I would say do like a half wig or a ponytail, because then people can actually see your hair. I understand people say these are protective styles, but to be honest with you, what are black women protecting their hair from? Like, what's the point of protecting your hair and no one ever sees the hair you're protecting? It just doesn't make sense. It's like you're supposed to be protecting the hair so that you can showcase it some of the time. What's the point of growing out your hair if no one ever gets to see the beauty of your own hair? And then she's got like this, oh my God, people are going to literally drag me over the coals, but I don't care, man. I've got to say this. Like, you've got this headband wig thing on, right? And listen, I'm not a person who hates on people who wear false hair. I'm not anti-wig. I'm not anti-weave. I'm not somebody who's going to call you a coon, a sellout, or like a bee wench if you like to wear wigs and weaves. Because I personally feel like, okay, you want to change up your look sometimes. Say you've got long hair and you don't want to cut it, but you want a short style, then weave your hair, of course. Why would you cut your hair off just so you can have a short style so that you then have to take maybe months or years growing it back? That doesn't make any sense. If you want to change up your look, that's what the wig and the weaves are for. But I'm just saying, like, if all the time you're wearing wigs and weaves, then we do have to question, do you feel attractive with your own natural beauty? I'm not somebody who's against the creamy crack. If you want to straighten your hair, just understand what it's going to do to your hair if you use chemicals to relax your hair. And if you want to use press it out and make it straight, good on you. You can do different styles, and sometimes you can afro it out, sometimes you can straighten it, sometimes you can wig it out, sometimes you can weave it out, sometimes you can just leave it out, sometimes you can cap it up, whatever you want to do. I am not a person who is like the weave police. I really don't have an issue with women who want to wear false hair. But if you're wearing that all the time, people do have to question, what exactly are you trying to hide or cover or prove, or where are you going with this? If you want to have straight hair, oh God, I get on the rant now. If you if you want to have straight hair because you feel that's going to make you seem more attractive, just straighten your hair. Just throw some cream in it or get it silk pressed and do it the right way, because men want to sniff your hair, they want to play with it, they want to run their fingers through it, they want to be able to go to the gym and swimming with you and enjoy it. And if you've got, like, with all due respect, false hair on your head, a black man is going to say, well, why am I going to get a woman with false hair when I can just get a woman with real hair? A lot of men don't have an issue with the wigs and the weave. It's just that they become like a god in a woman's life. She literally can't do anything because that hair is more important. And it's like, why don't you just take care of your own hair? I know it's tough if you put chemicals in it. Once you put that relaxer, you literally have to cut it out. That's the end of the story. So once you start creaming your hair, you have to maintain it, and that takes much. So silk pressing is a better option. And if you've got the money, why would you not invest in your hair by going to the salon and getting it, pressed out properly every so often, and then you have the combs or the brush at home that you just touch it up. Okay, so I'm going to kind of come back to that. Then I watched something else about, Steph was talking in response to she was kind of doing a follow-up to the initial video that sparked all this controversy, and she was like, she mentioned the word fat phobia. I'm like, bro, like, oh my God, am I gonna have to go gully, bro? I'm like, no one is phobic of your fat. What are you talking about? No one is phobic of your fat. It's biologically ingrained in men to want a woman with a certain hip to waist ratio, even if you are big. Even if you are a plus size woman, when that hip to waist ratio is correct, you will get looks, honey. Flat tummy, cinched waist, even with a wide hip and a big booty, you will get looks. Because I hate that. I'm not going to go down the whole, there are some men who just like BBWs and all that garbage. I hate that argument. That's like the, not everybody is the same. Not all, not all, not all. And white people do it too. White women do it too. It's just like, oh my God, we don't need to say that. I don't know who rattled this cage this morning, but I know I've been watching this debate go round and round, and this is literally the culmination of all of these videos that I've kind of watched and snippets. And when I watched Steph last night, I just thought to myself, Steph, what you're really upset about, oh my God, I know I'm going to get the anger comments, but I think a lot of brothers will agree with me. Steph is just big mad that she cannot get the Instagram baddie treatment. Okay. And it's hard. I know that is, oh my God. I know that sounds, I'm so lost for words right now. I'm so nervous. Whew. Steph is upset that she cannot get the treatment of a chick on Instagram. And it's kind of like, Steph, you got to pick a struggle. You got to pick a struggle. Okay. If you're in a predominantly white, extremely competitive area, you may have to relocate. Okay. Like this whole everybody gets a participation trophy mentality is literally, it's too much for me. I can't. People are talking about the birth rates, the marriage rates, the age at which people are losing their virginity, the fact that millennials and zillennials are having less sex than previous generations. And I'm just thinking to myself, if nobody wants to buy what you're selling, why can't you just take your product to a different market? Men have had to deal with this for the longest while. The concept of looks maxing. Like, bro, you cannot look like trash, be 600 pounds, smell like a garbage truck. You know, you've got a whole neck beard going on, and you're broke, and you've got a bad attitude talking about I deserve a baddie. No one in their right mind says that. But yet women are like, I've got a vagina. You should just want me. It's just like, it does not work like that. You've got to read the market. You've got to read the times. And if Steph is saying there's fat phobia, what she's basically saying is, I am a little bit overweight and I'm not prepared to put in the work. I don't know what she looks like in full body. Okay? I don't know what she looks like. From the face, she seems to be carrying a little extra weight. I know that's not going to be popular, but we just got to keep it all the way 100. If you are a bigger sized woman, that's going to knock you out of the competition. Because biologically speaking, they don't want women who have the appearance of being with child, because it sends a signal to them that this person already belongs to somebody. And we have to understand this, and Black people have a real problem with this. We're talking about a lifestyle. Obesity, like many other things, like your credit, your finances, you know, your family structure, your relationship history, what we see in front of us, before us, is literally is the end result. It's the end product of a series of decisions in a lifestyle. It's a set of habits. A person who is obese today is not obese because of something that happened today. We're talking about a series of choices that have led to this point. Choosing how to eat, how to exercise, and things like this. And for a person, and more men are really becoming invested in themselves. This is what women ask for. They ask for men to be hunky. They ask for men to be, you know, domestic guards, cooking, cleaning, you know, rearing the kids. After you finish work, come home and help me with the children. And all those things I don't have a problem with. Because, of course, a woman is going to be aroused and attracted to a man that when he comes home, he's helpful around the house. That's just a fact. But if the man is so self-sufficient and so self-contained that he doesn't really need a woman, then it's like you've kind of shot yourself in the foot. The more the men don't see value in the woman, the less he's going to need to pick one for anything other than a release. And so when women talk about what they want men to do and be, the more you push feminine roles onto men, the less the man is going to actually need a woman. All of this, I'm strong, I'm independent, I can do bad by myself, I can pay my own bills, and da 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 da. Okay, congratulations, you've just made yourself redundant. I literally was on a live stream a week ago, and a woman I was arguing with me, married with kids, arguing with me in the comments about, you know, who is the first teacher. I'm like, the mother's the first teacher. She's asking me, no, I'm not trying to be funny, but what about the dad? Well, then if the dad is raising the children and paying all the bills, what does he need you for? Congratulations, you've just made yourself redundant. It just doesn't make any sense how women want men to be men and women, but still think after a man becomes a man and a woman that he's then going to still want a woman. A marriage and a committed relationship is a long-term investment. And it's like, I'm not just getting into a relationship is not bringing a chair into your home or a piece of furniture or even a dog or a pet or something where when you're fed up with it, you just dash it out. No, you're actually intertwining your life. And, you know, bringing it back round to the point about lifestyle, a person who is overweight has a lifestyle. They eat a certain way. They exercise a certain way. They shop a certain way. And if you are a man who is now more health conscious and image conscious, why is he going to then merge his life with somebody with whom he's unequally yoked? A lot of the time we hear black women and women, well, yeah, it's mostly black women using this expression equally yoked, but lifestyle is about yoking what you hold dear and important to what the other person finds dear and important. A health conscious man is not necessarily going to want a woman who is not health conscious. Just like a person with poor credit or kids out of wedlock or whatever, poor finances, you know, what we see before us is a byproduct of a series of decisions. So if Steph is saying, you know, people are fat phobic, no, Steph, people are health conscious. And if you are not meeting that physical standard, then unfortunately, you're going to limit your own options. I told you, you guys not going to like this one because I'm listening to all these commentaries and people are like, thank you for sharing your truth, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, I do want to be sympathetic, but we also have to be realistic. If people are not buying what you're selling, you need to change your customer base. Go somewhere where you're celebrated, because not everywhere is going to like you. I tell people all the time, 99.9999999 recurring 9 to the millionth power. There are like what, coming up on 8 billion people on this planet. Let's just say half of them are the opposite sex, and there are only 2. I'm really sorry for all of you who are like, there's 35. No, there's 2. If you have XY, you're male. Even after you do all of the augmentation, when we take a DNA sample, it's going to say male. I'm really sorry. That's not transphobia. That's not heterophobia. That's not fat phobia. You can put any ism or obia at the end of that word. I don't care. It's not that. That's just biology. And so is pretty privilege. If you have an aesthetically pleasing face and what is socially accepted as attractive, you're going to have an advantage when it comes to attracting attention. And when it came on to men, it's like, bro, pick a struggle. If you're broke, at least look good. Okay? If you are attractive, you know, if you're not attractive, at least dress well, smell good. If you know, a lot of brothers talk about height, you can't afford to be, you know, short and broke, because if most women are taller than you, you've got to play the numbers game, because most women biologically, this is another biological thing, women want to feel secure. They want physical security, and one of the ways they feel physically secure is by simply having a man who's physically bigger than them. Taller, stronger, bigger muscles. This is another reason why women who are bigger than their men tend to not be chosen. Not because the man's intimidated or frightened that you might sit on him or crush him or snap his arm off or something. But again, it's just a biological imperative that if you are the man who's smaller than your woman, you may feel like you can't even protect her because she could maybe protect herself. I don't know if it's a psychological thing, but it just is what it is. And what I heard from this conversation was Steph does not want to do the work. You know, I'm going to say something else that everybody's going to get big mad. Bro, if you feel like your nose is not pretty, I'm not going to say do surgery and have your nose done. But, bruh, if that's how you feel, do something. One thing I will say, Steph is not unattractive when she puts herself together, but the glasses, you can hate me in the comments all you want. Those glasses don't flatter your face. They don't accentuate your natural beauty. There, I said it. I'm just bad copying it today, bro, because I don't care. Like, look, you can afford laser eye surgery. If you have a vision problem, maybe that's what you can do. Because if this was a man who looked shabby, hair was bad, odor was bad, you know, facial hair was bad, looking puny and weak, you know, dad bod, gut everywhere. Okay, we would literally roast that guy to death. He would be dragged through the coals of hell. Let's just keep it all the way 100,000%. Oh my God, look at the sneakers. Oh my God, he's dressed like this. Oh, these clothes are so last season. This nigga he got his big tummy out. I'm not dealing with no beer belly. I'm not dealing with no gut. How many times have we heard women say this? Derek Jackson was able to do the nonsense he did because he literally showcased his body every opportunity he got. All these little, muscle shirts he makes sure he wears and tight clothing to show off every vein of his body. He knew what he was doing. Who was really there for the advice this man was giving? Or were they there just to fawn over the way he looked? And brothers have said this about IG models and some of these chicks on social media. The reason why they don't talk is because once they open their mouth, everybody is. Look, let me just keep it PG. If that man, let me say it like this, because there could be kids in the room. If that man was sexually excited, once that woman starts talking, everything has gone more south than Australia. Let me just say it like that. Because once she starts talking, everybody can see this woman doesn't have any brains. She looks good, but as long as she doesn't talk, everything is fine. Then I watched another video. Apparently Steph is very loud. Okay? So when you go out, again, we're talking about merging of a lifestyle. I think that's what's really kind of driving me up the wall about this whole conversation. Is people are unrealistic about the fact that when you get into a relationship with somebody, you're merging your lives. And you want to be able to know, if this person never changes, this is what I'm getting for the rest of my life. Steph is very much into her friends. She was like, oh, if I go out with my friends and, a guy is trying to hit on one of my friends, I kind of step in like the bodyguard. Sis, you got to worry about yourself. The girls who are getting male attention, they're not losing sleep about how much attention you're not getting. They're happy to know that when they go out as the queen bee, we've all seen it, 2 or 3 girls, they all go out in the same outfit. One looks stunning, the other one looks a mess. And you think to yourself, you call this person your friend, but they couldn't tell you this dress or this outfit does not fit you. You're going out and, you're going out with a group of women who are likely to garner more attention than you. And this is kind of combining some of the stuff I've heard her say, things that I've heard said about her, and in particular, the Nurse Nerd interview that I watched last night. It's like, Steph, if you have certain interests and hobbies, then you need to be going on holiday alone. Stop going on holiday with your friends and out to events with your friends. Go out by yourself, girl, where you are not under, there's no comparison, because your friends may not even be that attractive. But if they are marginally deemed more attractive than you, in terms of the group, they may be approached more than you. That doesn't make any sense. Stack the odds in your favor. Go out with people who you are more attractive than them, because that's what your so-called friends do to you. Go out by yourself. Another thing Steph said was, when I go out on my day-to-day errands, I just throw on anything. Well, as much as I do believe, if you're out in the middle of the day and you get approached by a man, chances are he may not even have a job, because if it's the middle of the work day, why aren't you at work? But it could be lunch break. It depends on the area that you frequent, because if you are working in a city, in the business district, people have 1 hour lunch breaks and they go to the gym, they go swimming, they're going into these, nice cafes and restaurants to grab lunch. It just depends on your environment, where you are, how you're going to be perceived. Why would you reduce the chances of being approached by a decent man by going out, not putting your best foot forward at every opportunity? If you're looking to be seen as the love interest and the pretty one, why are you not going out showcasing your best every day? I told you, you're not gonna like this one. You're not gonna like this one because what I hear is complaining about, trying to get people to like something that, as a collective, is not the most desired thing. It's like, all right, let me use something. It's like having clothes. I remember there were things that I bought years ago that were maybe in fashion or they were cheap. But when I, upgraded my finances and, I started getting paid more and things like that, I started shopping in different places. And when I went back to clothes that I used to love so much, I looked at them differently because I'm like, I've moved on from this. And it's like, if you're in a highly competitive area where there is so much choice of beauty, like the average is a 8 or a 7 or a 8, and you're like a 5 or a 6, or maybe an adjustable 6 to a 7, it's not surprising that you are not the first draft. And I don't want to be like harsh or horrible, but you just got to read the environment. Because even, I know we don't want to talk about it, but a lot of the times Kevin Samuels, he does mention this concept of the LA 6 or 7 in different areas. What is deemed a highly attractive woman in one area is average in another. So with all due respect, women like Steph, you need to stack the odds in your favor. Dress for your body shape. Do your hair, do your makeup, make the makeup attractive, not a different person. We ain't out here trying to do trans and clowns, okay? Because a man wants to know that underneath the makeup is the same person. If you're wearing so much makeup that you look like a different person, well, then again, when he sees you without all of those adornments, best believe he's going to run a mile because he's not getting what he believed he's signing up for. If you know you're carrying the extra weight, slim down. You don't have to dress like you're going to church, but at least dress in a way that's flattering and feminine and girly for your body shape. Another person mentioned the demeanor. Are you going out, putting out a pleasant demeanor? Or is it a case of, when I'm going about my business and I'm on an errand and I'm on a mission, I've got the Terminator face and I'm running down the street, and well, then no one's really going to see you like that. Or do you look approachable? I know some people say, oh, well, don't blame the victim. It is what it is, and it's not fair and it's not right. But men have feelings too, and they're judging the vibe too. So how we present, it does impact how we are viewed. And the thing is this, if you don't have those drop dead gorgeous looks, and if you are not enhanced, because look, this is going to sound so wrong. I went down the street some months ago, and I know this is going to sound so rude. There was a woman, she's going down the street. She looks like she's a bit homeless, and she looks like somebody who's on some type of substance. Okay? We all know there's people when they walk down the street, they look bedraggled, they kind of have a glazed look in the eyes, and they're just zoned out going down the street. And I swear to God, and there was another woman who approached me saying something about she came down from up north and her house burnt down and she's trying to get money for something. I'm like, couldn't you beg in your own community? How did you get the ticket to come all the way to south from up north in the country? But you now need to beg for money, now you're here. Okay, that don't make any sense. And I looked at these two women and I thought, you guys are incredibly beautiful. You don't need to be doing this. Like, why are you wasting your life standing on the street corners, roaming about and begging when you have what it takes if you just put your, obviously get your life together and everything. And it's obviously not that easy. But you had it. You were gifted with outstanding beauty. And maybe because you were able to attract so many different men, but you couldn't vet them properly, you ended ended up getting, you know, hooked on a guy who was physically attractive, but in terms of morality and character was completely a loser. And now, even though you had that pretty privilege, you've completely squandered it. Begging on the street, running down the street under the influence of God knows what. It's like, just because you are physically attractive, you still have to vet men properly. You still have to maintain it. You still have to, you know, groom it. It's not enough just to have the looks. You actually have to enhance it and adorn it properly. And this is where the concept of the adjustable six comes in. If you are average looking, average to maybe going on cute or pretty, and a lot of people said Steph is at least cute, there are ways that she can enhance her natural beauty to increase the chances of her being that head turner. But is she prepared to do that work? I told you, you guys not going to like this one. You guys not going to like this one. Because a lot of the criticisms and the complaints that we see Black women making and modern women making about, I should just be able to show up with a vagina, I'm really sorry. It doesn't work like that. Because a man has needs too. He's got preferences too. He likes a certain look too. And he wants to integrate his life into a woman who matches his life. People are not going to like that, but that's just what it is. I'm not saying Steph is not entitled to her truth. I'm not saying that she doesn't have the right to feel the way she feels either, because that's her personal experience. But at the same time, we have to understand that, yeah, the mainstream media promotes a certain phenotype, and if you don't have it, it's going to be more difficult for you. But, and this is the next thing, I know people are not really going to like this. There's a couple of things, there's some more bombs coming, and I know people are not going to like this. When I listened to Steph talk last night, I felt like Steph just wanted to be the sexual object and desire of thirst. It wasn't so much about finding a good man and finding the right man and settling down and having the kind of relationship that her parents had. It was more about, I just want to be thirsted like these Instagram thotties online. I want to be able to turn men down. I want to be able to go anywhere and turn heads. I want to be able to just reject men left, right, and center and bat them away like a fly. And because I'm not able to do that, I am upset that I don't have the pretty privilege of what? The privilege to do what? To turn men down and get fluded out? Because I know people say, well, you know, being pretty is not all that. When Tommy Lee went on Kevin Samuel's show one of the first times, you know, he said, even if you wanted to be ugly, you can't. You're just naturally attractive. You couldn't be less than a whatever, even if you tried. Even on a bad day, probably wearing a bin bag, you know, smelling like trash, you still would look attractive. You could attract attention. And Tommy was like, I'm scared because when you are physically attractive, you're going to garner a lot of attention from a variety of men. And then you see the ugly truth of what men can be like. And that's not me demonizing men. But it's kind of like when you have money, it opens doors to certain worlds that you don't know are necessarily there. You don't think it's necessarily like that till you go through that door that money has afforded you the ability to open. And looks are the same. When you have that look, you start to really see a deeper level of what human nature is like, because you're going to attract a variety of men towards you. So even women who are physically attractive, they have their own set of problems. So, you know, and I have this issue again with men who complain about, oh, all these women are thots and hoes and they run around, they got high body counts, kids. And then when you ask them, well, do you want to be married? Oh, hell no, I would never want that. Well, then why are you complaining with, you know, marriage-minded men's problems or mentality if you're not looking to be married. All of the things you complained about are things that people who are trying to merge their life with this woman are complaining about. If you're just trying to have some fun, then you don't need to complain about those things. And Steph comes across to me like a woman who just wants to go out there and have a hot girl summer life. But her hot girl summer is more like a lukewarm summer because, you know, she hasn't got what it is to really get, think of the right word. This needs to go to Patreon. She doesn't necessarily have what it takes right now to get the baddie treatment. I'll just say it like that. But are you even positioning yourself to get that? It's like if you're just looking for Instagram model attention, then you got to have the Instagram look. And is it a case of you're getting approached by men, but you're not getting approached by the men you want? And it's not about pretty privilege. It's more about the fact that you are not getting the men that you want to be attracted to you coming to you. Because we all know a woman will say, I don't get approached by anybody, which means I don't get approached by the men I'm sexually attracted to. Because if you're getting approached by men you don't want, it's in the woman's mind, it's equivalent to not being approached by anybody at all. And so this conversation about pretty privilege, there's a biological component, there's a social component, and there's also a little bit of an entitlement component. Not all women are deemed pretty. You will be pretty to somebody, but are you happy with who you're deemed pretty by? If the answer is no, then the issue is not so much you're not attractive, is that you're disgruntled at who you can attract. So then the question becomes, what are you going to do about it? And I'm kind of going to leave it with this. There's a dating website. I don't agree with it. I don't necessarily support it, but there was something very interesting about this dating website. I can't even remember what it's called. It's not Ashley Madison and Madison Ashley. I can never remember which way. That's the cheating one where people are married, but they want extramarital affairs or whatever. But the guy basically set it up that for people to get into that dating website, everybody else has to vote whether that person is attractive enough. And there was like this woman, and she applied like 10 times, and she did surgery, she lost weight, she did it all. And after about 10 attempts to get in, she finally was accepted to the group. And this reminds me of The Millionaire Matchmaker with Paddy Stanger. I can't stand the show, but there is something good about that show as well, in that she has the mixers and she lets the people see each other. And there was one episode of Millionaire Matchmaker where there was this, short, morbidly obese, Caucasian woman. And this is so bad. She was loud. She had bad makeup. She was morbidly obese. She came off a little bit childish. And would you believe, she's the millionaire. Would you believe that the man that she picked did not turn up for the date? And as much as that was humiliating and it was rude, this is going to go down like a lead balloon. I wanted to say, to an extent, what did you think? The men there were in shape, they were young, they were vibrant, they were well put together, and you are coming in, all kind of multicolored eyeshadow, and hair wasn't looking right, and the weight, the personality, And you think because you've got millions, you're going to just pick a man off the rack like a shirt or a blazer? Like, we got to be realistic here. Men are visual. Black women are more visual than probably any other ethnic group of women. But men, if they can't envision having sex with you, the prospect of a relationship beyond where it's at now is non-existent, because men understand that they want a woman that they find physically, sexually attractive, and that they want to envision having sex with for the foreseeable future. So if the way you present, and this is not specifically to Steph, I know I say you and I'm talking specifically to her, it is kind of motivated by this whole pretty privileged conversation that she's the center of, but this is just to any woman in general. I'm not going to say if you're overweight or loud, or you come off as tomboyish, or you kind of got a lot of tattoos and piercings or a crazy color hair or whatever, that you can't find love or that you don't deserve it. That's not what I'm saying. But we have to be realistic about what the men we say we want. And we have to show up and we have to compete. You can look sexy when your clothes flatter you. If you know that you've got, glasses, and those glasses don't fit your face, and you can afford the laser, why are you not getting the laser eye surgery if it's safe? Why are you not in the gym? Why are you not getting that weight down, slimming that waist and cinching that waist? I told this is not going to be, it's not going to be nice. People say, oh, well, women, black women, and their degree and their career. When it comes to, is that making the man sexually aroused? The answer is no. And even in the interview that Stephco did, she's talking about, I bring other things to the table. All right, maybe I don't have the look, but when I go into a social setting, I can kind of bring my business side to the table. Well, that's kind of like a woman who acts like a boy. She's a broski. She's one of the mandem. But in terms of a love interest, no. If you want to be taken seriously as a feminine woman, you've got to show up in a feminine way. You can't say, because I'm just running down to the shop, I'm going to throw on, my sweatsuit and a cap and, have a straight face and power walk it down the street and wonder why no one checked me. It's like fishing. You're casting your net. How many times are you casting your net? Every time you go out, you're casting your net. And if, when you're not going to the club or social or dating apps, which we know both of those places are terrible, the people who go to those places are not even worth entertaining. If, when you are going out and about, you're not putting that best foot forward, you cannot be surprised at the results you're getting. And the last point is this: even if you're physically attractive, if you're a freaking basket case, guess what? No one's going to keep you around for long. They will have sex with you. But everybody has heard the expression by now: show me an attractive woman and I'll show you a man tired of sleeping with her. Halle Berry, anybody? A lot of these women are physically stunning, or at least they were in their prime. They could have literally had any man, but they still can't keep a relationship going. So we've got to look at this. I know this was a big joke before. Holistically, what is your attitude like? What is your vibe like? What is the market like? How are you showing up? What energy are you putting out? And it may seem unfair, but being an unattractive woman, which I'm not saying Steph is, quote unquote, unattractive woman, is the same as being a broke man. You can say I've got a great character and you should love me just because I'm a good person. But guess what? Unless you have the ability to put food on the table and keep a roof over our heads, the amount to which you are a good man is going to eventually become, it's going to become null and void. Contempt and resentment is going to set in if you are a quote unquote good man, but you have to be carried. Unfortunately, a lot of the women who are nice and they have good character and they would make great partners, they are not investing in that physical side to make themselves, you know, the flower that's going to attract the bees. All this talk about character is a little bit disingenuous, because we know a lot of black women are not picking men on character. That's why they're online complaining about their baby daddy. If he had such a good character, you wouldn't be online dragging the man because you have his children. And when it comes on to, you know, the other aspects of it, we know that because black women are trained to be independent, they buy a lot into this. I don't need a man. I want a man. You know, I can do battle by myself. I should be able to do what I want, live how I want, show up how I want, and just go and pick a man off the rack. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like this. And I did ask Steph, but I don't know if she truly answered it. She was like, my parents gave me funny dating advice, get dressed up and go and sip a lemonade at the mall. And I said to myself, that was good advice, because relationships are just about relating. The more you interact with people in general, the more you're going to cultivate those relationship skills. And like I said, it's fishing. You're going to cast your net. Everywhere you go is an opportunity to meet somebody attractive. But are you putting that best foot forward? It's not just about trying to get male attention. It's about developing those social skills. And I don't like to use the expression use people, but that's what it is. Every time we are interacting with people, to an extent, we are using them to develop our own character and our own social skills. So even if you are sitting down at a cafe having a coffee by yourself, you go to a gallery or you go to a festival and you're just chilling out, I'm telling you, just being sociable and friendly, it can open doors. Years and years ago, I went to the Notting Hill Gate Carnival by myself. And I ended the evening, this is so dumb. I ended the evening on a service station by the motorway. And we went to look at hot cars and people were racing and drag racing or something, because I met a group of people. We got chatting. We decided to walk together through the carnival. And when we got tired, we literally went off and decided to go and they were like, oh, there's this place where we hang out. It's like a diner, American style diner. And then we kind of look at all our nice cars and everything. And I was like, this sounds like fun. I hope to God I live. And I wouldn't advise going off with a group of strangers, but it was girls as well as guys. So I did feel kind of safe. And then afterwards, like, they even dropped me back into my area where I was able to then go home. It's just like, it's the vibe you give out. And I'm a big advocate of women going out on their own. Don't be reckless. Don't be stupid. Don't go to the carnival and go off to a drag race. But I'm just saying, you've got to go and position yourself to be seen. Man, I feel better now I've got that off my chest. So this rant was brought to you by, Stephco and all the women complaining about not being pretty enough, and all the people that didn't get, dragged through the carnival. This wasn't really none of it's ever scripted, as you know. But I just wanted to say that Hot Girl Summer, I'm not going to say I support it or that you should go and have it, because it there's the risk of an unplanned pregnancy. there's the risk of a STD, there's the risk to your reputation, there's the bonding and the you know, the inability to bond as you keep getting into relationships with different people that have no potential to go anywhere. Even the scripture says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. When you keep putting your hopes into losing horses and then the horse keeps losing, over time that's going to make you feel unwell. It's going to knock your confidence. It's going to knock your self-esteem. So don't put yourself in a position. The scripture says, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. When you keep taking on all this baggage and these different causes and arguments and isms and phobias, you're literally cluttering up your heart that's negatively impacting the rest of your life. And so, you know, I hope that this has helped somebody. It's kind of brought a different vibe. You know, I'm not going to interview Steph because I'm not necessarily, I mean, she might come, but that's not the point. I wouldn't want to interview her because this is more a monologue of my perception of this situation. Okay, what do you want out of your relationship? What do you want out of your life? Do you just want to be the lust object, or do you actually want a commitment? Because once you go down one road, you often can't go and backtrack and go down another. It's like a person that's been on drugs for a long time, unless they have like a near-death experience, for them to go and live an ordinary quote-unquote civilian life where the highlight of the day is Scrabble and like a game show in front of the fireplace, they're going to really struggle after a life of chasing the dragon to, you know, to chasing the highest word on countdown. Once you go into that life of sex work, whether it's IG modeling, OnlyFans, getting flued out, escorting it, and you get accustomed to not just the lifestyle but the money, it's going to be very hard for you to then look at an average guy in a good light unless you have a seriously negative experience. And so you've got to pick a lane. If you go down the sugar baby road, there's a good chance you can't come back from that. And if you go down the good girl road, it is what it is. So for everybody who got this far, I really appreciate you. Shout out to all of the new subscribers. I want to give a big shout out, obviously, to everybody in the States, Canada, Mozambique, Kenya, South Africa, Jamaica, the islands. Where else? Did I say South Africa already? The Kuwaiti crew, and obviously the UK, massive. I really appreciate everybody who's hit the like button, the dislike button, everybody who shared the content. Hit that notification bell, make sure it's set to all because YouTube is not sending out notifications. And let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.